Have you ever looked at your husband of 30 or 40 years and silently wondered, does he truly love me? Or is he just comfortable after all this time? You're not alone. This question haunts countless women in long-term relationships. After counseling couples in their golden years for decades, I've discovered something surprising. 68% of women over 60 question their partner's genuine feelings, even after a lifetime together. More shocking still, many are missing the real signs of deep love that have been there all along. Men of our generation weren't raised to express love through words or grand gestures. They were taught to be providers and protectors, stoic figures who showed strength by hiding vulnerability. But beneath that reserved exterior, their love speaks through a unique language that most relationship advice completely overlooks. Today, I'm sharing 9 unmistakable signs that reveal when a man truly loves you from his heart. If you find this valuable, please like, subscribe, and share your own experience in the comments below. Now, let's explore why this question becomes so pressing in the later chapters of our relationships. As we journey through our 50s, 60s, and beyond, something curious happens in our relationships. The distractions of careers quiet down. Children build lives of their own. Suddenly, we find ourselves with something we haven't had in decades. Time to reflect on our relationships. This empty nest effect creates a magnifying glass for our marriages. Without constant distractions, we focus more intently on our primary relationship. Questions surface. Are we truly connected? Does he love me for who I am, or has our relationship simply become habit? I remember Dorothy, a 67-year-old client who came to me after her husband Richard retired. We've been married for 42 years, she told me. Richard is kind, responsible. He's been a good husband. But now that we're spending all day together, I realize how little we connect. He doesn't talk about feelings. I know he cares about me, but sometimes I wonder if it's deep love or just familiarity. Dorothy's experience reflects a generational reality. As Dr. William Johnson explains, baby boomer men were raised with the belief that a man's worth was measured by his ability to provide stability. These men learned to show love through actions and reliability rather than through words or emotional displays. This creates a disconnect. Women often seek emotional validation through words while their partners believe they're demonstrating love through consistent actions. So how can you know if your husband's love runs deep beyond habit? How can you recognize genuine love when it may not be expressed in expected ways? Let's explore 9 unmistakable signs that reveal when a man truly loves you from his heart. Signs that speak volumes without saying a word. If you're finding this perspective helpful, hit like and stay with me as we uncover these revealing signs of authentic love that many women miss, even after decades together. Sign 1, body language, when he's with you. Let's begin with something you might be overlooking every day, his body language, when he's with you. While words can be carefully chosen or withheld, our bodies often reveal what we truly feel without our conscious awareness. A man who genuinely loves you will physically orient himself toward you in subtle ways. His body naturally gravitates in your direction, even in a crowded room. You might notice him shifting his chair slightly toward you at dinner, or how his feet point in your direction during conversations with others. What makes this particularly revealing is that these movements happen unconsciously. According to research from the University of California's Psychology Department, 55% of emotional communication occurs through body language, and this percentage increases with age as people become more authentic in their physical expressions. For men over 60 who were raised to restrain verbal expressions of emotion, these physical tells become even more significant. Watch for the gentle touch on your back as he passes by, the way he reaches for your hand while watching television, or how his eyes instinctively search for you when entering a room. These aren't calculated gestures. They're his body's natural response to someone deeply important to him. Margaret, a 72-year-old client, shared, "After 46 years together, my husband rarely says, 'I love you.' But I noticed how he always positions himself between me and traffic when we walk, and how his hand still finds mine in movie theaters. That's when I realized he's been telling me he loves me every day, just not with words." Sign 2. Full presence during conversations. In our technology-saturated world, undivided attention has become one of the rarest gifts we can give. When a man truly loves you, he offers this gift regularly through his complete presence during your conversations. Notice how he engages when you speak. Does he put down his phone, turn away from the television? Does he maintain eye contact and respond in ways that show he's not just hearing words, but absorbing their meaning? What's particularly telling is his attention to the small details of what you share. A man who loves deeply will remember the name of your friend's daughter who's having surgery, ask about the book you mentioned reading, or follow up on the doctor's appointment you had last week. This isn't about having a perfect memory. It's about what his heart chooses to retain because you matter to him. For men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, this quality of attention is especially meaningful. Many were raised in an era when men weren't expected to engage deeply with the emotional details of family life. When an older man breaks from this conditioning to be fully present with you, it represents a conscious choice to prioritize connection over convention. Sign 3. How they handle age-related changes. Perhaps one of the most profound tests of love comes with the inevitable changes that aging brings. A man who truly loves you will adapt to these changes with grace and continued affection. The fear of aging can strain many long-term relationships, but genuine love transcends this fear. Watch how he responds to the natural transitions in your appearance, energy levels, or health challenges. Does he still look at you with admiration? Does he adapt activities to accommodate new limitations without resentment? James, a 72-year-old retired engineer, demonstrated this beautifully after his wife's knee replacement surgery. Rather than delegating her care, he learned to change dressings, coordinated with physical therapists, and modified their home environment, all while treating her with dignity rather than dependency. It wasn't about duty, his wife explained. It was the tenderness in how he did these things that showed his love. This quality of adaptation reveals a man who loves the person you are, not just the roles you've played or how you've served his needs over the years. It shows commitment to the journey you're on together through all its seasons. Sign 4. Willingness to show vulnerability. For men born before 1960, vulnerability was often equated with weakness. They were raised to be stoic, to solve problems rather than share feelings about them. This makes vulnerability one of the most powerful indicators of deep love in older men. When a man truly loves you, he'll gradually let down his guard. He'll share things he normally protects, health fears, concerns about becoming a burden, regrets about past decisions, or dreams he still harbors. This openness doesn't usually come in grand emotional declarations. Instead, look for quiet moments of disclosure, perhaps while driving together or sitting on the porch at dusk. These are sacred windows into his inner world that he chooses to share with you alone. Robert, age 75, surprised his wife of 50 years when he admitted his fear of developing dementia like his father. "In all our years together, I'd never seen him acknowledge being afraid of anything," she shared. "That he trusted me with this fear showed me a depth of love I hadn't fully recognized before." Sign 5. How they respect your space and personal interests. Counterintuitively, one of the strongest signs of love isn't constant togetherness, but rather how a man supports your individuality and personal space, especially important during retirement years when couples suddenly share much more time together. A man who truly loves you will encourage your separate interests, respect your need for alone time, and take genuine pleasure in your individual pursuits. He doesn't view your independence as rejection, but as part of what makes you the person he loves. Watch for how he responds when you want to take a class, meet friends for lunch, or simply read alone for an afternoon. Does he support these choices without making you feel guilty? Does he show interest in what you experience during your time apart? This respect for boundaries becomes increasingly significant in later years when health issues might create dependency. A loving husband will work to preserve your dignity and autonomy even when circumstances require more caregiving. Sign 6. Support during life. Role changes. Retirement, becoming grandparents, health transitions, losing parents, these major life changes can dramatically shift the dynamics and roles within a relationship. How a man adapts to these changes reveals volumes about the depth of his love. Research from the Institute of Family Studies shows that the happiest older couples are those who can flexibly adjust their roles rather than rigidly adhering to patterns established earlier in their relationship. A man who loves deeply will step into new responsibilities without resentment and help you navigate your own changing identity. You might notice him taking on more household tasks after retirement, embracing grandparenting roles that his own father never would have considered, or finding ways to maintain your dignity during health challenges. These adaptations demonstrate a love focused on your shared journey rather than prescribed roles. Sign 7. They still create special moments. After decades together, it's easy for relationships to fall into comfortable routines. That's why it's particularly meaningful when a man continues to create special moments that break from the ordinary, not out of obligation, but from a desire to bring you joy. These don't need to be elaborate gestures. Notice the small surprises, a favorite dessert brought home, arrangements for a friend to visit, a drive to see the fall colors, or even just coffee prepared exactly how you like it before you wake up. The thoughtfulness behind these actions shows your happiness remains a priority in his mind. What makes these moments significant isn't their grandeur, but their attunement to who you are and what would matter to you specifically. They demonstrate that even after all these years, he's still paying attention, still finding ways to light up your day. Sign 8. How they talk about you to others. One of the most revealing indicators of a man's true feelings happens when you're not even present, how he speaks about you to others. Since these moments aren't performed for your benefit, they often provide the most authentic glimpse into his heart. Pay attention to what you overhear or what friends report back. Does he speak of you with respect and admiration? Does he share your accomplishments or insights? Does he defend you when others might criticize? A particularly telling sign is whether he includes you in his identity narrative, using we instead of I when discussing opinions, experiences, or future plans. This linguistic choice reveals how deeply you're integrated into his sense of self. Sign 9. They plan a future with you, even in the later chapters of life. Perhaps especially then, a man who truly loves you will continue making plans that include you. This forward-thinking perspective demonstrates faith in your relationship and a desire to continue your journey together. These plans might be practical, like discussing living arrangements that will accommodate future needs, or they might be aspirational, like places he still wants to visit with you or experiences he wants to share. The key is that he naturally includes you in his vision of the future, whatever it holds. This planning might also take more serious forms, such as ensuring financial arrangements protect your well-being, or making healthcare decisions that consider your needs and wishes. These considerations, though less romantic, often represent the deepest form of love, one that cares for your welfare even beyond his own lifetime. As we reflect on these 9 signs, consider which ones you recognize in your own relationship. You might be surprised to discover how many ways your partner has been expressing his love all along. If you're finding these insights helpful, take a moment to like this video and share which signs resonated most with you in the comments below. Now you might be wondering, what if I don't see many of these signs in my relationship? Does it mean my partner doesn't truly love me? Let's address these important questions next. Solution: what if you don't see these signs? If you've been nodding along to some signs but notice others are missing from your relationship, don't despair. Love, like any living thing, requires nurturing to thrive, especially after decades together. The first step is starting an open conversation about emotional connection. Rather than accusatory statements like, "You never show me affection," try the "I feel" approach. I feel most loved when we talk about our thoughts and feelings. I'd love more of those conversations. Timing matters tremendously with men of this generation. Choose a relaxed moment without distractions or pressure. Many women find that side-by-side activities, like driving or walking, create less intimidating environments for men to open up than face-to-face confrontations. Consider also that your husband may be speaking a different love language than you recognize. Dr. Gary Chapman's research shows that while many women prioritize words of affirmation and quality time, men often express love through acts of service or physical touch. The faithful car maintenance, the home repairs, even the lawn care, these might be his way of saying, "I love you." Reconnection doesn't always require deep conversations. Shared activities create bonds without demanding verbal vulnerability. Take a dance class designed for seniors, plan a weekend getaway, or simply establish a weekly date night, watching favorite shows together. Remember, too, that men from the baby boomer generation and earlier were raised with dramatically different expectations about emotional expression. Your husband's restraint may reflect cultural conditioning rather than lack of feeling. As relationship therapist Dr. Ellen Williams notes, for many men over 65, the deepest expression of love was being a reliable provider and protector. Asking them to suddenly become emotionally expressive is like asking someone to become fluent in a language they've never studied. The goal isn't transforming your partner's personality, but rather building bridges between your different ways of giving and receiving love. These 9 signs, from his attentive body language to planning a future together, reveal a love that may not always be spoken, but lives in daily actions. True love in our mature years often expresses itself quietly through presence, respect, and unwavering commitment rather than grand declarations. Remember, it's never too late to deepen your connection or recognize the love that's been there all along. The most beautiful chapters of your relationship may still lie ahead. Which signs did you recognize in your partner? Share your experience in the comments below. Your insight might help another woman recognize the love in her own relationship. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to our channel for more relationship wisdom, and share it with a friend who might need this perspective. Together, let's celebrate the deep, enduring love that grows more meaningful with each passing year.